Hello and welcome to the third test of the Freedom Series between India and South Africa. We're here on Cricbuzz Chatter and you are with us, Dinesh Karthik, and most importantly, Shaun Pollock from South Africa. Cape Town, in fact. Polly, do you think South Africa took the honours on day one?
Yeah, Dika, I think just slightly ahead. In saying that, I think they'll be really happy with having bowled India out for 223. At one stage, I think India were 92 or in the 90s for just the 2 wickets down, and Kohli was looking set. So Jeff pulled it back and got all 10 for 223. The only blow for me, as a South African point of view, would be with the Dean Elgar dismissal. He's been such the rock for them throughout the series. Twice we've seen him really dig in and get a big score. So I think that'll be the only disappointment. I also think that surface will start to play better. I think we saw once it had a roller in it, once we had some sunshine. There wasn't much sunshine in the first 2 sessions. I think tomorrow morning, once the roller's been on it, it'd be the best time to bat. So if they can form something, they will be able to get into a more commanding position. But 2-3, what are your thoughts about the Indian performance? No one really able to stick around with Virat.
Yeah, that's what I thought because, he was a great example of how somebody with a lot of shots, with a lot of strokes, if I may say so, and one of the most talented batsmen coming out there and gritting it out. He left balls. That's the most number of balls he's left in the first 50 balls that he's ever played. So many great stats that came about just with his innings today. You always enjoy a batsman in full flow, but there is something really special when somebody is gutsing it out there, completely going against what he is naturally capable of, leaving balls. Just one important thing, his trigger movement is something that I want to speak about. He's so good that when he gets his second trigger, he's one of those who gets it early. Then what happens is he crosses the off stump. But this one, you could see, delayed the ability to, change the trigger a bit, the second trigger, which in fact didn't allow him to go across the off stump. So he left a lot of balls outside off stump. I think from the Johannesburg test that he didn't play because of the upper back spasms, that's the one thing he must have worked on in the nets, trying to leave as many as possible. And he came out there with the perfect intent as a batter. Just the way he's paced the inning. If you see in the first 100 balls that he's faced, he's just scored 29. That's not the Virat Kohli we know, but that's just beautiful to watch. I enjoyed his batting today, very much like how Sachin Paji batted in Sydney. So many great examples. And I genuinely thought if he had batters, the 71st was definitely there and thereabouts. Did you get that feeling watching from the ground that the 71st was round the corner?
Yeah, I think mental application was the key to him. I think he came in there with that mental mindset of, listen, I haven't got 100 for a while. I'm going to get stuck in here and I'm really going to get a big score and try and get those 3 figures. As you say, very, very watchful about what he did. I mean, we had a stat here where it was his second slowest 50 that he's ever compiled. The other one was 170-odd balls in Nagpur on a real slow surface. And then the third slowest was 120. So it just shows on the scale where it fits in. I think also the shot selection, as you mentioned, didn't go after anything, was very conscious of waiting for that bad ball. There were a few half volleys that were bowled to him, and every time he got one of those, he put it away. So it was a different Virat Kohli innings, and I must say I enjoyed it, as you mentioned, with regards to just the change of mindset, the change of normal character, but just the mind and the strength of the application of wanting to get a 3-figure score and really applying himself. It was actually funny, his dismissal, because he was moving around the crease and trying to get onto off stump and manipulate things, he got into that same position where he closed it off a little bit more, and that was the one that he ended up nicking. So, yeah, that was a little irony. But I suppose if we look back, the one person who was going to get him, and it was a fantastic battle, wasn't it, also between Rabada and him, was going to be KG, because he did deliver some fantastic deliveries in a spell against him.
Oh, I think the battle between Rabada and Kohli was top-notch, was world-class, because just the quality of bowling that Rabada brought to the table, I think the 4 wickets that he got in Johannesburg gave him plenty of confidence. The way he started today, like the leader of the pack, the lion of the pack, brilliant just to watch the way, the questions that he asked, every batsman that he dismissed, he literally, caused so many doubts before they got out. That was the beautiful part of how well Rabada bowled. And you could see why the rest of the Indian batters actually struggled, because I think Pujara and Pant got a few starts, but they couldn't get going. For me, the best battle out there was between Kohli and Rabada. And if you're somebody who enjoys Test cricket, you will watch that and go, wow, that's a real battle between a world-class bowler and somebody who is batting with his, grit between the teeth and trying his best to make sure he's leaving everything outside the off stump. What did you make of the way Rabada and the rest of the South African bowlers?
Yeah, I think they were good. I suppose when you do see someone as elite as KG and he gets it right, it's always difficult for the others to really stack up and try and compare to him with regards to how they perform. Janssen, another good match so far for him, those 3 wickets. He's obviously not going to be as consistent as someone who's just playing his 50th test. But I thought everyone played a part. Maharaj will be over the moon to have picked up a wicket and bowled 5 overs and played a little bit of a part, and he's there, not out at the back end there as the night watchman. But yeah, overall, I think they assessed the conditions well. I think they'll probably be not unhappy that they lost the toss, the way the pitch played, and how the overcast conditions stuck around for that long period. But for me, as you say, it was easy to see who the kingpin of the day was, and KG was great.
And India's batting, if you may speak, Polly. Pujara got off to a good start. He was looking solid till he got that ball from Janssen. Punt actually got off to another study. He's batting well on 27 till the cut shot obviously let him down. What did you make of the rest of the batters when you saw? I just thought, they did get a few great balls, but in between that, they played a couple of ordinary shots as well. What did you make of it, Polly?
Yeah, when you look at that scorecard, once again, you see 10 dismissals through being caught. And that tends to suggest that maybe just a bit loose, isn't it, at times? Also when you get 10s and 15s and 20s, you feel like you've done the hard work. And in the test level, sometimes you can get out in those low scores and just after a couple of deliveries. So once you've got over the initial phase, you do expect someone else to really be able to grit it out. And the way that Virat went about it was almost the example to the others. So I think they would be disappointed. Some of the dismissals were a little bit soft, and particularly how important this match is. It was an opportunity to really put a peg in the ground about trying to set the game up and really get India into a strong position. And I think going to bed, they won't feel like they've done that. There's obviously a second opportunity to bat. Will the pitch start to turn? What adjustments will they have to make? But in their first outing, besides the captain, I think there's a few guys who'll be disappointed tonight.
All right. Now time to put Polly on the hot spot. Polly, there's this raging debate in India. Who is going to play? Is it going to be Umesh Yadav or is it going to be the tall Ishant Sharma? And they went for Umesh Yadav. What did you make of it, Polly?
Yeah, Sunny gave me a bit of insight into the thinking. Often Sharma comes in regards to left-handers. And because South Africa now, Quinton de Kock not playing lots of right-handers, Umesh Yadav probably gets a crack at it. I wasn't overly surprised. I've seen him play. We also look at his career, and it's been a bit stop-start, hasn't it? I mean, he never really gets an extended run. I think the most test matches he's played consecutively, I think the stat was 16. And after that, it's only been 7. So he's really played those 52 tests. And I think bowling to the right-handers, it wasn't a bad option. I think it was maybe betwixt and between. It wouldn't have really affected things too much. The surprise for me, though, I must admit, is that they gave him the new ball. Not that he can't. I've seen him swing the ball beautifully up front, and I've seen him bowl some nice away swingers in the time that I've watched him over the years. But Shami has got Markram out so many times and really asked so many questions of him in the series. I just would have thought that they would have started with Shami and Bumrah and really tried to put Aiden Markram under pressure. They got the wicket of Dean Elgar, which was great for them. But a little bit surprised. It didn't take long to go to Shami. But yeah, I would have probably gone that route.
Now that leaves us with the question actually, what does Ishant Sharma do? He's played more than 100 tests. There are a couple of bowlers who are obviously coming in now into the setup slowly but steadily. How do you manage him? Where does he go after this? If he's looked at as a 5th medium pacer as we speak, where does that leave him with his career, Polly?
Yeah, I don't know if he is looked at that. I think the communication needs to be good. A guy needs to be respected for what he's done. And, you need to be honest with him. You need to give him the exact reasons. And if the reasons were that we think you would have been better suited if there was left-handers in the thing, then maybe he just has to accept that. It's not easy. When you have played that amount of cricket and put in some really good service, and you come to the conditions that we've seen in South Africa, I mean, he must have been dying for an opportunity, particularly after those 2 pitches in the Highveld, thinking, gosh, if I can just get a game here, I'm sure I can make an impact. So I hope the communication to him has been good, because I think he obviously deserves that. And then he has to assess where he feels he's at.
When you say you're dying, I think Umesh Yadav must have been dying as well, because the fourth time he's stepping into the South African shores, and luckily this time around he's got a one test match to play. He's never played in South Africa before this. I think you'd be as much wanting a place in the 11 as anybody else. And I could feel
For
the
sure.
pain when you say that, they opened with an Umesh Yadav, not a Shami, who both swings both ways, very similar to you. And obviously, he's got the skill sets and he's put Markram in trouble. So moving on, let's go on to fast forward here, Polly. Holly, it's going to be an intriguing second day's play with the sun coming out. And obviously, like you said, they take the roller, a heavy roller, and obviously it flattens out the wicket a lot better. How do you see the day panning out, Polly?
Yeah, I think it still will be challenging. When you look at the South African batting lineup, not the greatest depth. There's still some guys who are relatively inexperienced. I think Ashwin will play more of a part on this surface. We saw a couple of deliveries from Maharaj already in his 5 overs get some purchase. And I think for me, the two batters in particular who will probably be looking to apply the pressure is Aiden Markram. I think he's due to get a score, and this kind of surface could probably suit him. Rassie and Keegan Peterson have played well at times. And then the other one is Temba Bavuma. I think I've been impressed how organized he's been throughout this series. But I think that period before the lunch break, those 2 hours, that 2 hour session after the roller, after the sun's beaten down here and try to flatten things out, I think we'll really be able to gauge. But I think South Africa will be believing that if they can do anything, they can get themselves a first innings lead. And in a decider like we've got here, I think that could be vital.
Absolutely. I do think that, if India can find a way to stop South Africa before 275, which is about 50 runs beyond what they've got, I think that gives India a good chance. The moment they cross that, then they're going to be playing catch up in a big way. And that sets up an intriguing test match and, more importantly, a brilliant day to play. But for the moment, it's thank you from Polly and me. It's been a lovely first day's play at Cape Town. And we'll see you tomorrow, same time on Cricbuzz Chatter.